When Linda told me what the theme was for today, our evolving understanding, I called her up and I said,
What's that?
Go ahead. Okay. Said it's a very vague, it's a very vague statement. And she told me about coming as a man, talking about transgendered issues, which I think is very important for us to face and feel at peace about. And I felt that I've thought about this and it became a very exciting topic for me. And I have asked my friend Bruce Ammons to come do this with me. We have worked together as colleagues and musicians for years, long time.
15, I think.
15, I think it's been 15. And we have discovered that we're teaching each other all the time, that we learn from each other, we learn with each other. And we're just going to share today, and we're going to do it in some strange ways, okay?
Because we are strange.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but you're not alone. There's several people who know that. Yeah.
Right, yes. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a body scan, like I do when we do your guided meditations. Why? So you can connect to yourself and send that connection out to each other. That's the theme of today. If we're going to evolve in our understanding, it will always happen for me in the most effective way. And I have example here because we do it together. If you connect with yourself, you open yourself up to connect to each other. If you open yourself up to each other, you open yourself up to connection to yourself. And in that healthy place of joining and being, it's very easy for you to learn and to grow and to let new things in, or to let what's already there completely and always has been. Thank you. I want to get a source for that song. And so if you would please join us in doing our body scan. So we close our eyes and feel yourself sitting. What are you sitting on? Feel the bench. Feel the chair. What is your back leaning against? What are your hips and thighs on? We listen to the sounds in the room. We feel the air, our warmth with appreciation for moving air in this warm time. We place our attention on our bodies. We're already feeling ourselves sitting, being where we are. We place our attention on our feet. Then we lift our attention to our legs. Then we place our attention on our thighs. We place our attention on our hips and our pelvic area. Then we move our attention to our lower back. We lift our attention to our upper back. Then we place our attention on our shoulder girdle. We move our attention out to our shoulders. And then down to our arms. We move our attention on down to our forearms. Then we place our attention on our hands. Now, following our arms, we lift our attention back up to our shoulders and then into our shoulder girdle. We lift our attention to the back of our neck. And then up to the back of our head and our ears. We place our attention on the top of our head. We move our attention down to our forehead and our eyebrows. We place our attention on our eyes. We move our attention down to our cheeks. Then out to our nose. And then we drop our attention to our lips, tongue, jaw. We place our attention on the front of our neck and our throat. And we place our attention on our chest. And then we move our attention down to our abdomen, where we focus on our breathing. Now we lift our attention to our heart space. And from our heart space, we send out a glowing light of greeting to everyone in the room. Acknowledging their presence and thanking them for being here. Now we place our attention back on our breath. We feel ourselves in our bodies. We feel what we're sitting on, leaning against. We feel the air in the room. We hear the sounds. And when we are ready, we open our eyes.
Yeah. We're down.
Wonderful to be here. Yeah, to be here again. When I grew up, going to church was something I had to do. And came to the realization that most of the time I was going to be done unto.
And you didn't particularly care for that?
No, I did not particularly care for that.
No two-way street there.
No two-way, exactly. So I remember going to a pastor actually for counseling, just a short counseling because he knew my dad and I was having trouble with my father. And he said, we're going to take care of this part and then you're going to be able to deal with that. He explained the way he preached. He did what's called expository preaching, where you take a scripture and you talk about each verse in that paragraph and say what you think it means. And the reason he did it was so you could have a conversation with that idea and decide whether you like it or not. I felt so respected by that. That was so cool. And so today, we're going to sing a song for you. It's a song by LeGrand Harvey. Lee Cox and I sang it here a long time ago. And this is the Rainbow Song. And I'm not going to say anything about it until we just do it. And then we can talk.
We can, yeah.
I have found a friend in you. We have grown together, learning how to share our love, learning to love better. And we blend together like colors of the rainbow. Love each other like colors love the sky. And when the colors fade from that rainbow, they remain forever, you and I. Colors are different, unique, separate from each other. Beautiful in themselves, apart from one another. But when they get together, a rainbow appears. When they are together, something more beautiful appears. And the colors and we blend together like colors of the rainbow. We love each other like colors of the sky. And when the colors fade from that rainbow, they remain forever in you and I. You and I are different, unique. We're like the separate colors. Beautiful in ourselves, apart from one another. When we get together, a rainbow appears. When we are together, something more beautiful appears. The color on. I have found a friend in you. We have grown together, learning how to share our love, learning to love better. And we blend together like colors of the rainbow. We love each other like colors of the sky. And when the colors fade from that rainbow,
Everything forever in you and I.
Thank you. No, Bruce, come up.
We haven't figured out how to do this. Right. Oh, no, that's good. That's more real.
This is actually what he and I do a lot, is talking together and sharing.
Oh, I thought you meant forget what we're doing.
Oh, forget.
Well, we do that too,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. So why is that song? Why did you want to sing the parts that you sang in that song?
It's interesting, that song to me sort of captures a split we get into in the world if we're not careful. We forget that we're all connected. And so it has the part where he's singing about being alone and all that. And then there's the part where I join in. We're talking about being together, and it's we. And so I thought it was really nice the way that song was put together.
Yes. And
I knew Dan needed all the help he could get, just like the rest of us.
exactly. So what he just said right there is, I think, what's really important. All of us are working on something. All of us are growing. All of us are dealing with things on this plane. Because on this plane, there are challenges, there are problems. We do horrible things to each other. But you know, from what was up here, what's the foundation? What's the beginning? What do you know that you can trust? Well, how can you trust it if you can't experience it? And to me, our evolving understanding is about experiencing where we are, who we are, what's happening. And so when you sang your song, you were claiming your experience, not just an understanding, but what you were doing, what you were choosing to do. And I loved that. It was very, very touching song for me.
Well, that always happens, right? There's no separating the two of those, although we might not be paying attention to that.
Exactly right. There isn't any separation from that. And what does it mean to you? Our evolving understanding. What are your thoughts about that? Because it certainly sent me to questioning. It's way too general a statement, but it was perfect once I thought about it. So I'm serious. Do you have any thoughts about your thinking about the theme? Yes. Growth. I remember years ago, a friend of mine said, my definition of love is being in a relationship is being committed to each other's growth. Yes. Years ago, he and I had this conversation. We said, we never hang around with people who aren't forgetting. No, who aren't learning.
He did that on purpose. Yeah, and he got it too. It was great, wasn't it? We have talked a lot together. Yeah. He also sort of knows I dealt like the kid around a little, just to keep things light. But we are looking for that growing edge all the time. And it is the place where we ask ourselves, what are some things that I'm blind to and I don't understand? You know, where could I learn more? You know, where could I feel more? Where could I be more present? Because it takes some real focus and intention to do that.
So I'm going to tell you a personal story. I hadn't really planned on this, but it's all his fault if you don't like it. I, many years ago, made the mistake of marrying a soprano.
Apologies to any sopranos in there.
Mozart, Haydn. There are histories of famous composers who did not get along with a soprano wife. We got married 5 months after we met. I mean, all of the surface stuff out there seemed to fit. But we didn't take time to get to know each other because everything was out there fit.
Or yourself, because in that situation, you're a different person and you're having to grow on that edge.
Exactly. And I can guarantee you those years ago, not only was I much more immature, I was much more neurotic. And I didn't know. She had a mother who was in an iron lung for 2 years when she was preteen, but and she basically had to take care of the family. So she had some really serious inside of her. And I remember one day I said, she says, I'm so mad at you that, I want to stick a knife in you. Now, she never acted that out. We never hit each other or anything like that, but that's how angry she was. I did not feel safe. And I also, at those days, as I've shared here, I was still playing victim about being abused by my mom. So we got divorced. And after I moved up here, she called and she said, I want to have 6 45-minute phone calls with you to talk about the past. Wow, it was wonderful. We both acknowledged the mistakes we made, the things we did that were wrong, all of that stuff. Really, really, it was very helpful. My aunt died, and right now she was a librarian, and I'm gathering her books to, I have them and I'm organizing. And my wife, my then ex-wife, had sort of been taking care of her because they were in California together. And it was very peaceful, no argument, nothing. But at the end, you could tell we weren't really connected. A month ago, she called me. She is a very, very good singer and lives in Washington and sang in Verdi's Requiem. And I think she was part of the paid choir rather than a soloist, but still. And the conductor was so genuine and so real that she went up and she said, I want you to know how much that meant to me. I really respected what you did. She said, the vulnerability on his face just went inside of her and rang a bell. So she called me up. She says, I've been working with my own spiritual path and my stuff like that for quite a while now. I knew she was. And I want to apologize. Thank you. I want to apologize. She says, I did not respect you. I did not trust you. I really treated you horribly. So the truth is she did. I mean, I didn't feel safe in my own home. And she's very much a control freak because she felt so unsafe in, her own self. She actually apologized for a number of things. I was blown away. And I could just tell she was being real. I mean, we spent years together trying, and so we talked about, okay, we both made these mistakes and we both tried. We both did the best we knew. And that's one of the things from my work in attitudinal healing, and it's one of the things I get from the language here. You make mistakes, the goodness is real on the inside of you, and you do the best you can, and you continue to grow. Well, I was so grateful. And her brother's a psychologist. He told me that she should ask me about what amends she could make. I said, just stay connected. We're family. We tried, and yet we've gone our different ways, but we really tried the best we knew how. And it had to happen, all of that, She needed to continue on her spiritual path. She needed to step into the music and find people that were being genuine and touch her. And she needed to check with her brother to make sure how to do this. And she asked. So thanks for letting me tell that long story. That was not my plan to go there, but that just happened this past month. And I'm so grateful because certainly forgiveness is the key to happiness. And
growth, as you said.
And growth. Right, yeah.
Because I think that the growth comes first. And then when you grow, we're built very beautifully to feel happy when we grow. Because it's important. And especially when it involves connecting with someone that we've had a hard time with.
So when Bruce and I were talking about that, you talked about the loop of here to there. Could you talk more about that? Out there and
right, that it always involves ourself and others, and that what goes on is a loop, so that when we do the kind of work and the kind of thoughtful processing you guys do in here and really connect with one another, and you strive for that, you're developing these powers to do that. You're actually just awakening them, that you've got them inside. It's nothing new. You just kind of find them again. And then that encourages the other person. So I would argue, Dan, that you've probably done some things over the years when you did talk with her that actually helped invite her to be that open with you and to heal herself. And that's what we want to do. That's, to me, that's growth, when we find the joy in the things we do to invite others to be better and feel better and do good things. Because it always lights us up inside when we do that.
We're students and teachers to each other.
Yeah.
And
we don't do it alone.
And we don't do it alone. So in music, we learn that over and over again, because we're the one, if I'm singing, I'm the one that needs to sing. If he's joining me in singing, he's the one that needs to sing. But we need to make the music together. That mystery, I find to be just a model of what the spiritual life is, or the true life, being a human being in this together. And so I'm going to ask you, would you please, I want to ask you to use your hands. You could just put it on your laps or whatever. And this piece, I put everything away. Oh, I'm not going to use the guitar. Okay. I have found a friend in you. We have grown together. And there's other parts in there. There's things, what makes sense to you. I have found a friend in you. We have grown together. And so, yeah, I'm going to come back and I'm going to get my words. I have it almost memorized. Okay. And I'm going to ask you, please, you can sing along with us. You can sing with us. Would you please play with us in any way that makes sense to you? And I'm going to emphasize the pattern that makes sense to me, which we will bring out the beginning of each measure so we feel where the music is, okay? And then you just explore and see what makes sense to you, and I'll be right back.
Yeah, so feel whatever beat you want to do for yourself to join Dan or whatever, however you want to do that, feel it and notice without judgment if you have a hard time doing it or get lost, and just be gentle with yourself and come back to it, because that's what this is about, is just not judging yourself, joining, and we can't join if we put up a wall because we're afraid people will go, ooh, that's not perfect. That's a huge barrier.
Right. In other words, please join and trust yourself. Okay. I have found a friend in you. We have grown together, learning how to share our love, learning to love better, and we blend together like colors of the rainbow. We love each other like colors love the sky. And when the colors fade from that rainbow, they remain forever in you and I. The colors are different, unique, like the separate from each other. Beautiful in themselves, apart from one another. But when we get together, a rainbow appears. When colors get together, something more beautiful appears than the colors alone. And we blend together like colors of the rainbow. We love each other like colors of the sky. And when the colors fade from that rainbow, they remain forever in you and I. You and I are different, unique, like the different colors. Beautiful in ourselves, apart from one another. But when we get together, a rainbow appears. When we are together, something more beautiful appears than a color alone. I have found a friend in you. We have grown together, learning how to share our love, learning to love better, and we blend together like colors of the rainbow. We love each other like colors of the sky. And when the colors fade from that rainbow, they remain forever in you and I. Yes, thank you.
Okay. I heard some really good sopranos there, Dan.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I just know eventually we're going to stand in a circle and I'm going to end with fun. But other than that, so if you will guide us into where we're going here, we'll do this together.
Do it together. Now in closing, let's pray together our prayer for protection. The words, I believe, will be on the wall behind us. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love. The power of God protects us. We are the power. The presence of God watches over us. We are the presence. Wherever God is, and all is well. We are one. All right, now let's go ahead and form our circle to do our peace song.